Good afternoon, everyone. So I'll just give a small introduction about Dr. Bhanu Sree Reddy. She is a senior professor in Business School, VIT University, Vellore. She holds a PhD in International Relations from University, Tirupati, and has 24 years of experience in teaching, consultancy, and research. She has, to her credit, publications around 52 in many international and national journals and conducts executive development training programs for industries. She completed consultancy for TVS two-wheeler company in Bangalore on brand image for their new two-wheeler. Her broad area of research interests include strategy, business consulting, cross-cultural management, and international business logistics. She has international and national reputed journal publications and trainer to banks, NGOs, and technology business incubates. She has held positions like Associate Research Director, Program Chair for MBA, where she is responsible for implementing curriculum, aligning placements, and facilitating pre-placement trainings to students around 500 in number. She is currently monitoring and mentoring the Study Abroad program at VIT Business School as mentor for students who aspire to go to University of Michigan. She is also coordinating summer internships abroad for business schools since 2014 as International Relations Coordinator to countries like Malaysia, France, Italy, and China. She is on the adjunct faculty role for University of Rome, Italy.
Subhasree, you are in mute. Please unmute yourself.
I'm so sorry. Sorry. So, I'll give a short introduction about Dr. Bhanu Sree Reddy. She's a senior professor in business school, VIT.
Yeah, Subhasree, no, Subhasree. The last lines, and I think that's enough. I'm okay with that. Yeah, we heard up to the last sentence. It's okay. Only in the last part you were muted, so don't worry about that. And we'll just continue with my presentation.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Subhasree. Thank you so much. Yeah, and good afternoon to everyone. Should I open my video? Is it mandatory?
Anything is fine, ma'am. It's so comfortable.
Okay, fine. I have to, but I don't know. This is new to me, Cisco. We use MS Teams and Zoom is also okay. This is the first time I'm using, so I apologize if anything goes wrong. Can I share the PPT? Yeah, before that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. And then, it's a very long and serious introduction about me. I'm just a very common professor and just ready to learn from the participants as well. So we are just going to have an interaction. So anybody can stop me at any point of time, no issues. And I'm thankful to the management of NIT Trichy and especially to Dr. Tamrai Selvan for inviting me to be part of this very good faculty development program. Thank you so much. And then I hope I'm going to live up to the expectations. And it's all about the globalization, which is my favorite subject. So I'll just try to share the PPT. Subhasree or maybe Mr. Jagan can help me.
Yes, ma'am. It's visible, ma'am. You can just convert into slideshow view, ma'am.
Yeah, can I put it to the full screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah.
It's visible and it's audible, ma'am. No problem. You can continue.
Yeah. Basically, we are living next to the railway track, so sometimes you get the sound of the railways, and please bear with that. Otherwise, this is a very interesting topic, basically. So we are just talking about the globalization of education, trends, and future challenges in education has been the topic given to me. And we have been working on this. So before I start, a few words about VIT University. VIT University, all of you know, this is one of the top universities in South India, especially, and we are trying to be in, among the top 100 in the world also. So we strive a lot, and we work and we experiment a lot with lots of things. And our main pillar of development, or maybe uh, for the future endeavors, is internationalization. So we look a lot into internationalization of lots of things at VIT. So basically, I'm from business school. Business school is the school which has got a very low number of MOUs and other things. So imagine how vibrant the things are with engineering schools. So they have a very long history. So much of the time, we are very confident about our engineering programs and also in business management also. But then we are forming a part of the bigger university. So I will just try to share my experiences with you. So when we talk about the globalization of education, we have to start something with the current situation, how we are and what we are doing right now. It's not only us, most of the time in the other institutions of the country. And we see that, higher education and the new education policy of 2020, even though this policy has not been really elaborated in a implementation way, but still it shows some hopes are there for us to change the whole scenario for betterment. And then we can talk about even the networking issues that are going to be really very useful for institutions to thrive. And how do we look at best practices out of memorandum of understandings, that is agreements we make with foreign universities, and what we need and what we need to do and what we can do is also a very important topic here. And then stakeholders perceptions. In higher education, we have the parents, we have the students, and we also have the management and monitoring bodies also. So let us see how they look at the internationalization of education put together. And then we can just have a sharing of our own conclusions after listening to this. So we see that these are the points we can dwell upon for around 40 to 45 minutes, and then we can have an open discussion. Okay, so whenever, as teachers, we have the bad habit of giving a definition. So when we see that, how do you define the globalization of education? So we say that this is interconnectedness basically, and interdependence of people and institutions throughout the world. So we try to see who are doing better, and then we always give them as the role models, and then we try to align ourselves with them, or maybe at least compare with them, compare with the better things. So we see that there is always an interconnectedness and interdependence. So it happens in almost every field, and it's more important in education. Keeping the future of the country in view, we need to look at all those kinds of things, because once upon a time we had Nalanda and Takshila as the world universities in India. So the olden days itself, India was an example, was a role model for globalization of education. And we see people are, maybe I can say, visitors or foreign visitors used to come from different countries, like Greek and Roman cultures, and then even from China and Japan. They have come and learned so much in terms of Buddhism and other theories, and they have taken these kinds of religious as well as the ethical values of India to different countries. And then we can see the traces in especially in Southeast Asian countries. So we see that we have been a role model, but now when westernization has taken over, we are just trying to follow certain things and trying to equalize ourselves. So but still my opinion is always that India will be a role model and can be a role model, always will be a role model. So we see that internationalization, what does this thing do to the students? So from the perspective of the students, what we can understand is, it gives the students an ample opportunity for international exposure. What do you mean by international exposure? Is this really required for a student? So when we ask ourselves these questions, it's very important. I can see in my class the students who are, having parents with central government jobs and all that. They keep, going to different places, And you know what is the advantage of these kids? They become multilingual. They learn different languages, different cultures, and they are familiar with different food traditions and other things. And they have an advantage, definitely. I don't want to say anything about, but there are certain political parties which try to restrict the languages also, which is a really horrible thing, that you are only trying to control the future of a student. So we have to expose them to as many situations as possible to make them better citizens in the world. And we also see that this internationalization helps the students to become confident, sensitive, even when they're working with multicultural settings. I have a question. Most probably, all of us would have done this. The motivation, Maslow's hierarchy of motivation. All of us would have done. But then, when it is put to test, it's a failure in Asian countries, whereas it may be successful in Western countries. It's a model which talks about, what are the physical needs, and then we talk about self-actualization at the end part of the life. But when it is really practical in Asian countries, we teach our children, and culture says that for us, any guest or somebody from the from outside of the family are also important and equal to God. Atiti Devo Bhava, something of that kind. Okay, but Maslow's hierarchy says only when your needs are accomplished, you are going to think about others' needs, but which is not true. So we need to understand how you motivate the people in different cultures. So for this, you need a bit of exposure in different cultures and different countries. If a student can get a chance of going around the world for a few days, at least every year, that's going to be a great opportunity for him or her to make themselves more sensitive and more confident, and more better leader when compared to the people who are in a stable place. Of course it may not be possible for every student, but governments and institutions have to work towards introducing these kinds of programs, because now we talk about a global village. Things are pretty easy when you are dealing with institution to institution. So obviously we need to think about this. Okay, forget about taking them to a foreign land like a China or maybe USA or anything, but at least make sure that your students are traveling to one other state, totally a new setting where the students will face a challenge. We do this in our school in VIT. We have a freedom of taking the students to different places. We put them to different situations, and then they have to really take care of lots of things. So that is how we experiment, and these experiments always resulted in a very good manner, because they try to understand, they try to empathize with different situations, whether it could be marketing or psychology. This is going to give a better experience to a student when they are in a difficult situation or out of their comfort zone. Out of the comfort zone, your success starts. So we talk about this. Another help that internationalization could do to the students is to understand different perspectives beyond that of their own culture and economy. So we have a clear idea about how our economy works, what is my currency, and how do I spend my money and all that. But when you are going to a different country, the total things are different. Like, the time horizon is different, your food habits are different, and the currency is going to be different. So you have to look at your budget, how much I'm spending. So these kinds of things are going to be the best lessons in life for the students when they go abroad, or maybe when they go to a different place. So this is where we bring in internationalization as the most important component in education. What do you mean by education ultimately? Education and teaching students with the PPTs in the class, textbooks, and all those things are limited to up to the secondary education. Okay, once they need to know whatever they are, then obviously it is the role of the gurus or professors to make sure they are independent in their thinking, and they have to take care of things, and then they have to analyze, they have to propose and implement a lot of plans for the growth of businesses or economy. This is the role of the professors, basically, higher education institutions. So unless until we unleash the students into different situations, how do we expect them to learn something? We are giving them a baby feeding, right? Spoon feedings and all that. So if this is the case, it's very difficult for us to see innovation or creativity in terms of education, or maybe in business ideas. So we have to put them to different kinds of exposures, which happens in only this kinds of situations. Okay, so we move on to the globalization. What is the impact of globalization basically on world? So the whole world trade is totally different here, and then we see now there is a small fluctuation in most probably in either in New York. Something happened with between Biden and Trump. You know, those things are reflected in our Bombay Stock Exchange. So we need to understand that this interconnectedness is going to make sure that we need to prepare our citizens, our own students, to understand all these kinds of vibrations that happen across the world. So now, no more we are exclusive, or maybe we are segregated, or we are independent. We are dependent. So we are coming under different kinds of international organizations. So at this point of time, preparing our students and ourselves to the whole changes in the world is a necessity for us, basically. And we see a very great revolution has happened in communication. Now, what's happening here? I'm sitting at my home, and then I'm talking to you guys through, online meeting. So we are able to see different places from the place where we are, so we don't have to travel or do anything. So there's a very good opportunity for us to make use, to bring in different kinds of people, and their experiences could be shared with our own students. And this communication revolution is a very good feature in higher education, and especially in internationalization. So we see that different kinds of educational activities are happening. So we see lots of students are traveling across the borders to learn the culture, to learn different types of things. And so why don't we make our own students as part of these kinds of a revolution? So I see that, you know, even in state universities, government universities, they have a wonderful program like, you know, student affairs. Obviously, these cultural programs are aligned with a foreign university, and sometimes both the universities fund, or maybe you can take the fund from the universities. I'm not sure, I cannot say that just like that, because I'm not really aware how things are happening in government universities, but I see a lot of times in the newspapers government universities do better programs in terms of, you know, cultural exchanges and other things. So why don't we do that? And even you can have a semester or maybe a few days, a week abroad kind of programs. So these kinds of things, explore now, and try to add those kinds of things, because the world is not the same, and you cannot say that I'm very happy, I'm in a place, comfortable place, and that's not going to satisfy everything. We have to come out of this kind of you know very normal kind of situation, when we have to proceed and we have to really, you know, prove that we are a better institution. These things are very important. Focus on those kinds of things apart from teaching. You know, I don't want the serious teachers to get into these kinds of things, but there are youngsters and maybe some other people who are interested in travel and arranging things. Just entrust these kinds of responsibilities to them. They are going to do a wonderful job. Okay, so we move on to the next part of it, like, you know, globalization led to economic relations since the later part of the 20th century. So when we talk about this, I mean, a lot of countries are funding, and they're also getting funding from IMF and other things. We do different kinds of programs. So our job is only to research on what are these kinds of programs where we can get a maybe 75% of funding from the organizations, and can bring our college into limelight. So our institution, our college, whatever, you may have to make sure that your management understands the importance of these kinds of things, and then create a program schedule, and then maybe present it. Obviously, they will approve it, because, you know, these are the things which are very critical to the success of a particular organization. And there is another issue also, when we need to be on the competition, obviously we have to comply with the global standards. Okay, so my question is, now we are talking about the roadways and hotels and even, you know, railways or whatever, we are just talking about the globalization and standards and all that. So complying with the global standards has become mandatory thing for all of us, not only in other, I mean, aspects or other sectors, but it are also applying to education also. So when you have a graduated student from your institution applying for a better university in US or any other place, if they refuse the certificate or maybe the application of this particular student, you feel bad. Why we feel bad is oh my God, we have done so much, and still they're not accepting the quality of my education or institution. That really hurts. So maybe we have to think about, all of us, we have to gear up and we have to look at the quality standards and also try to implement the sustainable development goals in our institution. Obviously, we try to match with the global standards. Here is where we bring in the accreditation processes and all that. Why we need to go for accreditation? We have to have usually the visibility of our institution in terms of accreditation to the other colleges or other institutions across the world. So barring that, we have certain objectives of internationalization. So when we talk about objectives, we have effective international branding through accreditations. And so this is what I was talking about. So we are looking at the accreditation parts, so where it becomes very, very important for us. And then accreditations are going to help us to make sure that the other institutions are looking at us as with respect, and they're also looking at us, okay, they have quality. And this is a communication that we are giving to the world. So this is going to be very, very important for us in future years. So maybe sometimes Modi government is going to make sure that every college should go through accreditation. All of us are going through NAC accreditation. How different it is. When you are able to really manage NAC accreditation, you think it's going to be difficult for any kind of a foreign accreditation, except that we have a fees to be paid. So please focus on that also. So this is also one of the objectives that we have to keep in mind when we want to literally internationalize the education. And we have another very interesting part, that is MOUs. MOU, all of us know that memorandum of understanding. So we need to strike an agreement with usually best institutions. Always look for a better institution which is doing better than us. So we have our own grade, and then we are trying to make sure that, yeah, okay, this is doing better in my area. Take, for example, we have a tie-up with Michigan, and then I've been working with that with almost like since 8 years. Why we wanted to really align with only Michigan? We just looked at our syllabus and their syllabus, and we found a lot of similarities. And we are not going to throw our students into the dark, but we have a comfortable place where at least they can really look at our own syllabus, and then most probably they can comply with the standards of that institution. So we see that a similar kind of area, but still doing better than us. So these could be the targets for your MOUs. Right. So the next part is attracting visiting foreign faculty members. Okay, fine. Earlier it was like, you have to pay their flight tickets and you have to give them a remuneration. But now at least, when you have a little friendship with somebody whom you would have met in a conference, or maybe you would have met them when they have come to India. So please network, send a mail, say hi to them on a New Year day, and then try to wish them on certain things, and then maybe you can bring them online to your students. Okay, so these kinds of things are going to be very productive for your organization. Your management also will be very happy. The only thing is you need to convince your management about this, and they should understand that very soon we have to do this, and these are going to be mandatory in most of the institutions, I believe. So we talk about recruiting international students, and most probably a little bit of summer or cultural projects. So this is where we were talking about. So it's like, a win-win situation where we try to bring the foreign students to our campus. In summer, most probably summer is not actually a congenial place for a weather situation like Vellore. Vellore is very hot. So what do? We bring them in December. So they get the Christmas holidays and put together. So we propose them, and we just blend it with different kinds of activities. Like, we just take them to nearby cultural places. We take them even to temples, and make sure that they understand our traditions and other things. They are very much interested in this, and they just pay for it, and they come here and stay in our own hostels, because our hostels will be vacant because the students would have gone for a holiday. So we just try to host them at these kinds of times. Okay, this is how we manage our cultural projects and internships. And then we recruit international students also. So I just want to give our own experience because I can't speak about others when I don't know much about those experiments. But then what we do is we have top-up programs where we bring in Chinese students. They need a lot of computer education and also languages. So they are very keen on learning English or maybe sometimes, German, French, and other languages. So we just bring them here for 1 or 2, 3 months, and then it depends on how many credits they are supposed to take from here. So these are the things which you can discuss in the MOUs. When you are just striking an MOU, you just can't say that, okay, send your students. No, not possible. You have to give them a proper program and it should be useful for them. You have to make a little bit of research on that and you try to understand, okay, these are the requirements. So can I match or can I at least try to impress them? And this is how we are going to get them here. Okay. So apart from this, we also have semester programs for international students. So this usually happens in computer science and mechanical engineering. And also we at business school, we also do this. We have BBA students coming from France. So we have a MOU with them. And it is usually not more than 10 students from our side and not more than 10 students from their side. So there is no point of paying any fees. The students are going to take care of their flight tickets and all that. So we are just trying to match the costs in such a way that we are equalizing this. And there are no extra financial burden to the authorities or universities. So obviously, this is going to be a very, very important aspect in internationalization of education. So we are doing a barter system literally here. So we use this kind of recruitment of international students for a short period. And this really helps us in our rankings and accreditations. And then I'm talking about international research. Yes, this is very, very important for us. And all of us know that, whenever Nobel Prizes are all announced, we see it can be sometimes, a single professor, or sometimes it could be a group of people from different institutions. But the outcome is something which is really helpful for the mankind, or even for the education, or maybe development of the economy. So we see that these kinds of researches will happen only when there are multicultural teams and they have specifications and they have their own knowledge and this all helps a lot in international research. Only thing is you need to have a platform where you can talk to them, you can just make sure that you present your idea to the person and then things move faster. So we see that collaboration among faculty of similar domains, also exchange of faculty is also possible. So we do on the same lines. It all depends on how you prepare the plan and how you take to the right people. That's going to be a very, very important thing when we talk about internationalization because it's not only the management, it is even government and the consulates are also involved here. So we need to be very careful with this. So we are looking at what is the current situation now in globalization. So if we talk about that, so now at present, what are we looking at? So till now, there is never a foreign university has come onto the soil of India, and they have established their campus, exclusive campus, with all the people from their own home country. Nothing has happened till now, but we see that there are always collaborations. So there are ways of getting these foreign institutions into our institutions. Is like you have to have collaborative twinning programs and sharing faculty with partnering institutions and most probably distance education is a word which I may not be using here, but then maybe online education. So we have a value addition program here for the students. So a 10 hours lecture from any foreign university professor is going to be part of our curriculum. So definitely it helps the students also to have a different perspective. And the host faculty who is here, they are going to take care of the evaluation and other things and attendance and all that. So it becomes easy for the foreign professor. So he delivers the lecture and then he conducts a assessment test and then we form it as part of the credit system. So this is how we need to bring in people here and make sure that we have a collaboration with the foreign university professors also. And when we look at these kinds of things are happening across India, please understand nothing new or maybe some of the audience who are listening to this may be part of this kind of programs also. So there is no wonder in that. So almost like 650 foreign education providers have such agreements with Indian institutions. So when we talk about this, now current situation is okay. We have a control. We have a limitation on the participation of the professors and other things. But then when we talk about the future, when the gates are open, when we are literally talking about opening the gates for foreign universities under the name of globalization, what will be our situation? Our Indians are really crazy about getting a foreign degree. All said and done, we are crazy. So whenever we have an opportunity to go abroad or maybe to get a degree or anything, we are always proud about that. And this is a weakness of us, which is spending money in US universities, to tell you frankly. So we see that a lot of our Indian students want to go there and get a degree. So obviously that is the biggest marketing point. So far, it's good. We have control and we are trying to limit the students. But when foreign universities are opening up here, their campuses, what is our situation? Yes, of course. I don't say that everybody is going to flock there and everybody is going to enroll in a foreign university. Not possible, because their standards, fees, and everything is going to be different. But when we look at the creamy layer of the students, the best students can go there. So that's the danger for us. So are they our collaborators? Are they competitors? So it's high time for us to think about how do we prepare our strategy. If something like that happens, am I ready to face this or not? So as an institution, you have to look at it. Please understand, when we talk about tier one, tier two, tier three institutions, we need to be very, very strong with the strategy. Otherwise, we will vanish. So we need to be very careful about the entry of the foreign universities, maybe in near future. So we need to prepare ourselves for that. So we are not going to make it all of a sudden a shock treatment for the people around, or maybe we cannot allow our students to just go and stand in front of their campus in a queue. We should give an impression to the students that we are also better and we are better, basically. So that impression should be there. And before they are coming here to invade, we need to invade their universities. So that's how usually we think. And all of you should agree or must be agreeing with me. If in a competition, we have to be really, really serious about this. Okay. So we move on to the globalization of education opportunities and how it is happening. So basically, we see here the students and even the institutions, even the faculty will get a multifaceted development, because I myself have been there. And when I started teaching to the students in Italy and when I went to Michigan, I saw a different perspective of education. It's not something like, we expect our students to say good morning, good evening every time, but they don't really bother about that. So the youngsters of India nowadays, even the assistant professors who are all listening to this, they're also not really worried about it. So it's a different kind of a culture where you need to be friendly with the higher education institutions and students, and they are all grown-ups. You can't just treat them like, you have to listen to me and discipline, all these things. It doesn't work. So we need to treat them as friend. So it's a development, and it's a different kind of an experience for both the faculty as well as the students. Right. So you can just bring in your experience in different interesting ways to the students. So I've learned so much from those kinds of institutions when I was there. So that really helped me a lot. I'm one of the favorite faculty in my school. I'm proud about that. Not just because I'm just doing some marketing techniques, but I sincerely talk to them and I tell them, I just handhold them, I just try to mentor them. Not that everybody is not doing it, but sometimes, some subjects definitely need discipline. You can't expect a math teacher to be friendly all the time. And if he says 2 plus 2 is 8, you cannot say, yes, boy, you are right. You can't do that. But still, you have different ways of doing it in a very friendly manner. So we need to respect the grown-ups. That is what I'm trying to tell. And the foreign exposure definitely gives us a chance to change our attitude and most probably change the altitude also. So we are looking at investment in building human capital. You should become a faculty who is very, very imperative, very necessary for your institution. So this also happens, in terms of, when you are getting to know how things are happening in the best institutions. So that is advice, like, you don't have to travel also, but you can explore. You can do your own research, your own homework, how to become a better human capital, And when we are doing this, we are also preparing our students to be the best students and best employees as well. Why companies are running after the branded institutions? The reason is they are going to give them a CTC passed to the company, and the salary is apart, and the student has to be given a training again, how to behave with people. We use the word like, interpersonal, intrapersonal skills and all that. Man, I have already spent so much money on giving you a salary, and you want me to train you again how to behave with people. So these kinds of things are very, very critical for a student. So when you are building a student to be an employee in an organization, it's really tough. So we need to make sure that the companies have to come back to us saying that, oh my God, your students are really good, and they are real assets to my company. The company will come back to you for placements. So these are the things we need to focus on instead of talking about, taking them to different countries and all that. Okay, all these things are costly. Oh, somebody says this, I'm not accepting this. No, just look at the possibilities. Whatever way, whatever budget you have all the opportunities still to transform a student into a better human capital. That's what I'm trying to say. And we talk about new technologies, right? So when we are talking about technology, all of us know these kids are, the present generation kids are totally computers by themselves. They know all the techniques. So we need to gear up. We need to impress them. We need to understand that, okay, they should respect us only when they know that, okay, my teacher knows better things than me. Otherwise, they just put us into big trouble. So we are supposed to gear up with the new technologies, and the new education policy says that there are going to be a vast variety of training programs for the faculty. So I'm seriously waiting for that. So we'll see how it is going to be. And I am, a very person who are against to do a motivation kind of training. Oh my God, why you need a training in motivation? Ultimately, you are in a very serious profession, very divine profession. You are able to impress people by your classes, by your knowledge, by your contribution. And then why teachers need a motivation? And of course, the colleges and managements should take care of the happiness of the professors in such a way that they should not go for any kind of a motivation training. Okay, fine. I'm just trying to come back to the topics here. So gainful employment. So when we are capable of training our students, so when they are placed in bigger institutions and greater organizations, so they are the ambassadors for us. They are going to talk about our institution, and anybody who is going to give an appreciation, they definitely ask you, hey, which college have you studied, or from where you have come from. So obviously, these things are going to be our advertisements, and these are the ambassadors who are trying to take our flag high. And our institutions should feel proud when our students are placed in a very better companies. And we see that try to recruit people from different angles and different places. So geographical diversity is very important for us. I don't know how many institutions will be having this kind of a facility, but when you are doing it, just make sure that you are creating a cross cultural ambience and skill set for the students. So it has to come from even the professors are from our different institutions and different places. So they are not human beings, but they are going to bring their knowledge and expertise to the schools, or maybe to the students and to the classroom. So we need to make sure that when a foreign professor is capable of addressing our students, we can also talk to their students. So they are just impressed. They're really, really interested to have different kinds of professors. So the same 60 hours I'm going to teach, and there are two different phases. Obviously, the students are also enthusiastic. So what we need to do is, maybe you belong to OB and HR division. Make sure you call your own colleague. I don't know. If you have any issues with the management, sorry, don't do this. But otherwise, what you do, just give a topic of your course or your syllabus to one of your colleagues. Ask them to come and be a guest lecturer within the organization. So this diversity, the way the other teacher is going to make sure that how he or she delivers the class, it's going to be a different experience for the students also. So this is how we create, we create enthusiasm among the students, and then make sure that they are interested in. So again, these kinds of things are going to give us definitely an advantage in terms of getting exposed to different people. And usually what happens is the globalization, whenever we talk, it is always stream down, usually if it is water, but if it is people, it's always up, bottom up. So what happens is low income countries to high income countries, the transition always happens. And students travel from low income countries to always high income countries. So we can't deny this, because in terms of the value addition and also the value of the currency, which is a literal factor which attracts the students, is high income countries, the development, the cosmopolitan attitude of the people. So all these things are going to be there. So have at least one country which is of a higher income country, or maybe a Western country, in your agenda. So try to bring them here and make sure that they talk to your students. And this is how it's going to give a different kind of a setting, or maybe an ambience to the institution. And yeah, a very crucial part in internationalization of education is the role of accreditations. So accreditations are very, very crucial for almost all the organizations nowadays. So we start with the NAC, right? And we are just having lots of national accreditations. But when we talk about globalization, I have to mention about a few of the foreign accreditations, which are going to equalize the quality of our education with them, right? So usually it happens in medical or engineering. So whenever you have to go apply for any foreign university, you have to write a GMAT or GRE, and the scores are very, very important. If it is English, then ILS, and then most probably we also have TOEFL exams and other things. Okay, is there any exam for students who are trying to come to India? They want to get an admission into Indian university. Are they writing an exam? So again, we follow the same. We ask them to produce a GRE or GMAT account. So score, right? So this has to be changed, and we need to make sure that we have to develop something which is our own and indigenous, and then most probably we need to show we are also a quality education provider. Right. So we talk about these accreditations. So this is like, much of the time there are two, three important things which are definitely related to self-retrospection kind of thing. If it's a human being, then we talk about the institution. It is a rigorous self-evaluation process, and we have to set some objectives. We have to give a vision and mission statement for our institution, and then we have to align our courses with the vision and mission statements, and then documentation process starts. So it's like, Chitragupta writing everything on the paper. So we just try to bring in all those kinds of things and document everything. We need to show the proofs and other things. And we have appraisals by the team members who are all coming from different accreditation bodies. And we have to bear their costs, their flight tickets and all that. So sometimes it looks like, very funny activity, but seriously, it's going to make a difference. So when we try to get an accreditation, at least we are in the process of accreditation, we know how systematically things can be done. So this is a very important aspect of globalization, where we need to get into touch with accreditation. So international accreditations are very, very important in terms of making the world know that we are looking at quality assurance, and also we are committing ourselves to continuous quality enhancement. Quality cannot stop at one place. There is no full stop for quality. It has to grow. Like the previous speaker was telling us, Dr. Jawahar. So he was making a very interesting example. Like, if people are very happy with the phone which is on the table, we would never get a mobile phone. So we are very happy with a mobile phone, receiving a call and sending a call. We could never have a mobile camera. And we are very happy with the camera and other things. We could never see the email. We have to come back to the desktop or maybe laptop. Now you do everything when you have a simple device called your smartphone, right? So there is no end for the quality. You need to go ahead and you have to look at simplifying the processes and making sure the students are comfortable with the education, and also give them in a quality way, right? It's just not a play or a game of giving education. It's a serious process. So it is the life and future of the student. So quality makes a big difference. So we are looking at and telling the world by getting into accreditations that yes, I'm working towards quality assurance, and also I'm talking about the continuous improvement in the quality, whatever I'm just trying to produce. Okay, so again, accreditations part, how it starts is with rigorous standards. So all the world countries, all the best universities are supposed to have something very similar. That is, they follow the same kind of accreditations. So we see that these accreditations on par. When I'm AACSB accredited, and there is a business school in USA or France which is accredited on the same lines, I don't have any problem with the transfer of the credits. I don't have to ask my students to go through a stringent process of writing maybe an entrance exam or anything like that. So when I'm talking about this, these rigorous standards are going to keep us on the same platform where transfer of credits and other things are becoming very easy for us when we try to send our students or they come here and develop and implement a campus effective plan. So it's not only limited to the education or credit system, but it is also to the other kinds of facilities and also the vision and mission statement and also the work of the research work of the faculty as well. So all over the campus, we are trying to follow the same kind of a plan and which is stipulated in terms of accreditation process or standards. And usually there will be annual reviews. We have to send annual review reports. So you can have certain people, certain faculty members who are really good at documentation, who are really good at presentation. So make use of the core competencies of each and every faculty and make sure that they are just doing good things for them, right? So those who are really good at speaking may not be good at preparing a very good project. And those people who are really good at writing good projects, they may not be able to talk fluently. So make sure that these kind of people are forming a group and you take care of these kinds of things. And this is really a very good choice for the management also to make sure that the accreditations are taken care of and then the reviews are taken care of. And most probably they look at the financial stability. They can ask about how many students are recruited, what is the fees, what is the salary of the faculty, all these things. You must be knowing, all of you must be knowing about this, right? So we come to most probably the site visits are very important. In maybe COVID is not going to be there for another 1 or 2 years, but then after that again the population really starts traveling. Obviously we need to be ready with the site visits, and when the people are coming for this, make sure your students are also knowing about what you are doing towards accreditations. Why it is important? The students should understand that your institution is doing so much for ensuring quality and they are just trying to be on par with the global standards. So obviously the student feels proud. Okay, I'm a global village citizen, right? So these kinds of things should be literally transformed to the students in terms of information. Don't hide anything. Otherwise, there is any kind of, visit by any member and then they're just talking to the students. Part of it is, all of us know, when NAC comes or UGC comes for inspection, they make it a point that they speak to the students. So the students also should know the information, whatever we are doing in terms of this. If a bunch of students are only into international programs, not all others, even then create a meeting and then try to talk to the students and tell them what the other students have done, and they should know what is happening in terms of either a industry visit or maybe a guest lecture or whatever. Make sure the students know everything, and even all other schools in your universities or all other departments in your college should know what you are doing. This is going to enhance the confidence, and this is going to really create a motivation for the teachers also. Oh, that department has done this, okay, let me do something on my own in my domain. So this is the real motivation that happens in terms of whenever we talk about any achievements we do. So we have two types of accreditations. One is a institutional accreditation, another one is specialized or programmatic. So we talk about this institutional. It is totally depending on the whole college or institution or even a university. So we talk about this as institutional. So every department is responsible for putting all the stakes together, and then we give them a whole picture how the institution works. So this is going to be a really tough job, but once you get an accreditation, I promise you, it's going to change your world, your placements, your recruitment of the students, and even recruitment of the faculty as well. So this is going to be really a very nice experience if you really put in a little bit of hard work. And we talk about the specializations and the program related accreditations, where only certain programs are accredited. So here the work is less. We are just looking at only a particular program or a particular school or a particular discipline, then obviously it really does well. We have in our VIT University, chemistry department has done really good. and they have 15th place in the world ranking. So because of their research and their contributions and all that, they have recognized them and given a very good place. It's a proud moment for all of us. Okay, so coming to this the explanation for that institutional accreditation and then program accreditations. And then I'm just moving on to one or two accreditations. I'm not going to take much of the time on explaining each and every accreditation. So ABET is something which is very crucial and very mandatory for most of the engineering colleges and institutions. So this is Accreditation Board of Engineering and Technology, where the headquarters is situated in Baltimore and USA. So many of the times this is when both institutional as well as programmatic. So when programs are also ABET accredited and sometimes the whole institution is also accredited. So this is how usually ABET covers a broader area. And then we talk about AACSP and AMBA and ICWIS. These are the triple crown which are supposed to be for management schools. Right. So we call them as triple crown, and I think rarely any business school has got this. When I checked in the Google search, it says only 2 colleges are triple crown. And then we see that this international accreditation is a certificate of assurance of quality, and it denotes that the accredited university or institute has achieved and maintained the highest standards of imparting education. So we're not talking about anything more than imparting education. So the skill set and the knowledge and the implementation of knowledge for the students is a big criteria for people, where whenever the best companies come for placements, they just look at your accreditations also. So the students check for accreditation, the parents are also impressed by the accreditation, and foreign universities which are trying to come and strike an MOU with you, they are also interested in your accreditations. And above all, the companies, the final customer for your product, that is your student, they're also looking for accreditations. So don't you think it's important for us to think about this? Maybe if not international, you can even think about national accreditations. All of us, we have to go through NAC, that is mandatory, but the rank makes a difference. The number place where we are makes a difference. So we are talking about, okay, an MBA institute is basically typically accredited for 3 to 5 years, and renewal happens afterwards. So the initial process is difficult, but the fruits are sweet. With all this hard work, you are just going to just put your institution into a different pedestal or a different platform where people come seeking you. They just want to find out where this institution is. So we just make sure that these things are going to be added advantages for the institution as a whole, apart from getting into international visibility. And we talk about the stakeholders in higher education. So here we have the institutions. So like I told you, the institutions should have basically an aptitude towards rankings, and they should always strive for quality enhancement. So that is where I use the word like an attitude is also important and altitude is also important. So the institutions should know it's not just taking the fees and establishing ourselves, but it is just making a niche for us in the market. So that's going to be a big difference that we can make as professors. And the most important stakeholders are parents. These are the people who are going to pay the fees for us, and because of whom we have bigger institutions, and we are also getting our bread and butter. So parents need to be, contacted. So you have to have a program in all the institutions. You just, we leave it with the school. In schools, we are fed up with the teacher-parent meeting, right? Why don't we do that with the college students also? I'm not asking you guys to call the parents and just make sure that you conduct a lot of meetings. No, just in a year, maybe sometime you call them and just share a cup of tea with them, and then ask them to just make a visit to your institution. This kind of a hospitality is going to make a big difference for you, right? So happy parents are the best marketers for our programs and the institutions. So we talk about this, it's very quite common in European countries and then Western countries. They don't have any problem. They just call them directly and talk to them, and they just brief them about the wards performance and all that. And which parent will be upset or not being at the call when you are talking about their own son or daughter, right? So we need to, at least, if not all the parents, if there are uneducated parents also, never mind. You just try to create a rapport, try to talk to them, and then make sure that they are here on something or the other, and just make sure that you just send a small badge or maybe a small photo, then they just keep it at home. You don't understand the value of the logo of the institutions. It's really, really important. And then we talk about the students. Yes, these are our prime customers and prime stakeholders. How do you impress them? How do you impress them? Yes, you have to have a friendly relationship. Not that with all the 70 students in the class, I know pretty sure even I have 70 students in my class. But then it's very important for us to make sure at one point or the other, you are given 45 hours of contact classes. Just make sure you talk to the students. And it's not only about the course, it is all about, how you maintain a relationship in the classroom. And don't be angry if someone is making a mistake. I know it is very difficult because we have crossed their age. So trying to be friendly with the students who are slow learners is not a problem. Slow learners, just focus on them, create a group, and just make sure that you talk to them nicely. And when there are foreign students, in your class, or maybe you have intelligent students who are doing really good, and for them it is just easy. You bring them to the slow learners, ask them to mentor them. This is like, peer learning. All of you know, nothing is new. I'm not sharing anything from the heaven or Venus. I'm just telling you all the, existing practices. Only thing is, I'm just taking them out of your memory. That's what. Okay. So we come to the other stakeholders, especially in terms of internationalization. We have government regulations and monitoring bodies have a strict eye on education. They just don't bother about the black money, but they are serious about educational institutions. They want to say that, yes, you are under my control. Yes, we want to be under your control, no problem. But then government regulations and monitoring bodies have to be respected, and we need to be very careful with them. When we are just writing an MOU or anything, make sure the new education policy says that we have to bring in the exchanges, like foreign students and foreign research domains and all that, but they have not specified anything yet. When really gets implemented, maybe some of the world-renowned professors are to be included into how these things could be implemented. Then we'll have a little bit of clarity. And we talk about these government regulations and all that, in a very clear manner with the partner universities. Okay, coming to the partner universities, make sure they're comfortable with us and we are comfortable with them. And I'm very sure that it's not the logos, it's not the university titles which are going to talk. It is all about the people who are going to talk. These are the people who are going to implement the programs, who are going to market the programs to the students. Ultimately, students are also human beings who are going to really travel and transfer the things. So we need to be very, very good with the partner universities, create a congenial atmosphere, talk to them, create a rapport where they can call us and we can call them. And this is how partner universities take a very good responsibility of hosting our students. Right. So when we talk about all these things, internationalization, just like a jiffy, I'm not saying that everything is going to be just like that easy. But here, the most important thing is the students have to be taken care of in a very safe, right? And after they go there, they face lots of cultural shocks and the different kinds of problems will be there and a lot of psychological issues pop in. So at this point of time, the mentoring is the only way where you can really bring a student to the normalcy. So obviously, the high concern in internationalization of education is for the safety and security of the student. And also we are talking about there should be a clear outcome in terms of, a learning process. So they should be able to equip themselves to get a good job abroad or maybe in here. So that is most important thing. And we just see that, the different kinds of globalization programs happen through semester abroad programs. Like I said, you can fix up some duration for the students to go out and see how things are. And then what we do here is 1+1 program for MBA. So my students in business school, they just study 1 year here and then the next year will be in USA. So they get 2 degrees. This is called a training program as well. So 2 years of MBA here and then 1 year MS program from any US university. And the most attractive thing is, okay, the kids are literally, not really good at paying maybe 20 lakhs or something as a fees for one total year. But then when it comes to 1 lakh, they are ready to spend. Nowadays, 1 lakh is nothing for a lot of parents and students. So when we take them to summer internship, it's usually a blend of classroom teaching and visits to industries, and then most probably we choose a sector, an industry sector. It could be shipping industry, it could be marketing, it could be retailing. So we take to different countries and then put them there for 15 to 20 days. And this amounts to almost like 2 credits. So they, after coming back, they just submit a report and then they have to go for a viva, and where we just make sure that they are able to specifically explain what they have learned. So all of you must be familiar with the word experiential learning as well. So make it a blend of entertainment, education, and learning also. And then we talk about internationalization of education. A lot of countries are also waiting for some kind of an invitation from India. So all of us know, they know very well that India is really doing well. So we have immersion programs, immersion projects, which you can really basically negotiate with the partner countries and partner universities. So you can approach people from Indonesia. Vietnam is one of the best countries. Now, I'm not talking about all Western countries. I'm also talking about Southeast Asian countries, but very high in quality and standards. So Vietnam is one among them. They have a very good, education system, which could be, actually integrated with us. So you can think about all those things and try to attend some of the conferences and seminars, maybe online also if possible, which are hosted by foreign professors or universities. Okay, so we talk about this, and then the process is all about, when you start an MOU, obviously the agreement is going to be very specific about certain things. How many credit waivers you are going to give, how many credits are transferred, how many credits they are going to transfer to our university or maybe our institution. All these things matter a lot. So we talk about the syllabus mapping also. Like I told you, when we look at the syllabus of different institutions, then we see similarities are there. So similarities, it is easy for us to merge our program with their program. So these kinds of things are going to make the life of the students also very easy. So we do syllabus mapping, and then credit transfers are also very important. And we should also understand the difference between the credit system of European countries and credit system of US and what we follow here. So we see that European credits are totally different. With 30 hours, they have 3 credits only, but when it is US, they have a different definition for that. So we follow in a trimester pattern, or maybe IAMs and other places, 2 to 3 credits for each and every course. So make sure that you're not confusing the student, but make sure that these transfers are literally smooth. We have advantage like, course equivalence is also possible. And we need to focus on student exchange and faculty exchange. So it's like, give and take policy. You send some students over there and you just bring them here, and make sure that there is an interaction between faculty also. If you are trying to share a subject, this is a very good opportunity. This time is really good. COVID is a boon in disguise. Sometimes you can talk to the people and then ask them to give you a chance to address their students, and just make sure that you bring somebody here, and then make sure online class for your own students. It's not going to cost you anything, just an email and agreement from the concerned professor when it matches your domain. So we also can bring in some of these interdisciplinary projects, align with some engineering students and MBA students, and then make sure they come up with a very nice topic, and then just ask them to do a little bit of research on that, right? And then we also can do some other things like hackathons and other things, which are going to create so much of enthusiasm. You can show this hackathon hours as class hours, classwork, and workload. I'm not sure how much freedom different institutions enjoy at this point of time in these kinds of things. Okay, so we have different kinds of things that can be added into the processes. Nobody has got a limit. Okay, you can do something which is very innovative, which can be actually followed apart, or I can share something and you can share something. We can always work towards the quality enhancement in higher education, right? So this is our case study with Michigan. I told you what are the things we have been doing with Michigan. So 1+1 program is there, and we have in Amaravati campus, we have a BBA program where 2 years of BBA students are going to be here, and the next 2 years they're going to go to Michigan. So this is also a wonderful program where they have a system of 4+1. Their UG is always 4 years, and then PG is always 1 year, unless until it is specifically in engineering MS. Otherwise, most probably these are the things where we see 4+1. So you define the programs and you just make sure that the program is matching to your own curriculum and other things. So make sure you're into it and then try it. It's not going to be a bad thing to try. So we see that credit transference, like I said, equivalence courses, you can really make sure that the students gain some experience out of this. And when the students are into all these kinds of things, the most important thing is like mentoring them and motivating them and try to give them so much of courage. You can do this. And then obviously it's very important. And yeah, we deal with here in VIT. We also deal with the travel process and visa process also. What I do as a mentor is I try to fix up a group visa appointment with the consulate in Chennai. And till now, my students' visas have never been rejected because this is an arrangement between one university in India and another university from US. So usually all of us know the US visas are totally unpredictable. They can just refuse anything at any point of time. So till now we have been doing this, and then it was a success story. And yeah, of course, we faced a problem with the Trump administration when they have been very critical on the number of cutting down some of the visa to Indians. Obviously, we also faced the heat. And then we see that, but still the number is below 10. We were able to really manage things in a perfect manner. But still, it's a challenge for us. We are just trying to make sure that things will go smoothly. And we are looking at on-campus life, how the students have to be ready. And most probably, foreign universities have an advantage. If a student is willing, maybe they're just studying 3 courses over there. The other course could be online. They have options. They give more options to the students that even they can take up an online course. Why don't we do it here? We can also do it because the new education policy also puts a lot of stress on digitalization of the education and online courses also. So I'll take it up a little bit later when I'm just approaching my conclusion. And then we can also think about projects monitored by faculty of partner universities, also make them a co-guide. And then that adds value to the project, whatever your student is doing. Make it a paper, publish it as a journal paper also. That is also possible. And institutions are like they should have mutual respect. And mutual respect, how do we gain the respect? Unless until we are making sure that we are a quality institution, right? So this is all about 1+1 program at business school in VIT. So we take care of the I-20 document and visa appointments and all that I've told you already. Yeah, so the outcome of this particular experiment, what we have done at VIT is this has become very successful. And thanks to our management, they are serious about international relations. And we have a very well-established international relations office, and management is very supportive. Our chancellor, our vice presidents, our vice chancellor, everybody is into us. And then they have a very prepared plan for each and every year. We have goals set very clearly, and we work towards it. And we are thankful to the parents of the students also who have been there. And then we are also thankful to the partner universities because, without their collaboration, it never happens. What are the results? We are just looking at a very fair kind of transfer. And then we are also looking at good placements. Till now, we have been able to send 72 management students since 8 years, right? So on an average, 10 students per year. So we saw that, they are established in 14 different states of USA. So these people are all coming back to us in form of alumni. We have a very strong alumni network. That is also very important for us. So they come back and they inspire our current students. And this kind of programs helps us in accreditations and ranking. So internationalization of education is a serious criteria for almost all the institutions, right? And these programs are aligning with our vision statement, like, we are just looking at establishing global leadership skills among our students. So when you prepare a mission statement, make sure that the programs are also complying with your mission statement. And then we are talking about another university with which we are very close. And I'm seriously, trying to give you a practical experiment what we have done. And I'm not trying to give something from the Google or something from any other source. These are the live examples that we have been doing. So, from graduates to postgraduate courses, we are step by step forming international collaboration. So, our BPS students, apart from Michigan, they also have another opportunity like Tor Vergata. This is University of Rome in Italy, almost like 1,000 years old university, where our students go there for free of cost just because we have an MOU. All of you must be knowing about Erasmus programs also. European countries, when they are sending their own students to all the other European countries, the universities, they don't charge any kind of a fees. Their travel and living expenditure only should be borne by the students, but the tuition fees and everything will be taken care of by the governments. So the students migrate from one country to the other. They just go do 2, 3 postgraduate courses. I'll be wondering what makes you guys to do this. They just take a break, they do a job for 1 year, and then they just go for another program. So this is how the knowledge seeking has to happen. Okay, I'm not really asking you guys to implement all that, but at least a pinch of it. Let us taste a pinch of it what they are doing. So our PPA students usually, even again, we have a cap on that, like not more than 7 to 10 students. We don't send them more. So high grade students, like highest CGPA should be there for them, and then we choose them, and with the consent of the parents, we try to send them to MSN Business Administration. MSN Business Administration in Europe is always 2 years, whereas it is totally different in US. Right. So we have, this University of Rome as a very strong partner in terms of industry visits. So my students would have gone there for Fiat and Maserati companies, and they have seen how manufacturing and industrial processes happen over there. So we are also having strong bonds with Singapore and China, Malaysia, and UK. You can really look at opportunities in UK because now UK is opening up like anything. Britain is coming forward to have more and more foreign students. The reason is they are into Brexit. When Brexit is coming, all the European students from different countries are going to vacate. So they need more students to pay fees for their universities, and they want cultural diversity. So they're looking at Asia. So Chinese, Japanese, and Indian students are the people who are going to fill the gap. And UK is giving wonderful opportunities. Once you gain admission, you know what happens. You're just making sure that the students will be given post work visa, post study work visa. So this is like you spend something and you are going to gain back from the same country. So these are the wonderful programs. Only thing is you need to do a little bit of research. So I have few examples how my students would have gone there, and they have visited different kinds of industries and institutions. They have been to transportation, and they were surprised to see that there is only one single card where they can use it for multiple transfers in transportation. For the metro or for the bus or anything, you can use one single card, which is prepaid. You can just swipe and you can get into any kind of a transportation. So these kinds of experiences make them more confident and more better, right? So ultimately, what I want to say is we attend a lot of programs, and then we try to create networking with different institutions. So this is all about Michigan, and you can see how the students are who have gone here when they graduated, how happy they are. Right. So coming to the new education policy, I'll just take one more, one or two slides more, I believe. So when we see this, India's new education policy is talking about we have to become global leaders in information technology and communication. We are, but still, we should go to a situation where we are hosting placements for foreign students and also foreign experts. So we have to attract the talented people to our organizations. And much of the time, we are looking at disruptive technologies. Priority and buzzword nowadays is this disruptive technologies, which are going to make the complex process into simplified manner. And we are now talking about A, B, C, D, E, F. So you are asking me, why are you talking about these kinds of things? A is your analytics, and B is for big data, C is for cloud computing, and D again, design thinking. and we are talking about the two important things that are like economics and finance. So these ABCDEFs are going to control the total institutions as well as the placements. So are we ready to prepare our students to face these challenges? So we have an advantage in terms of online and digital education, where a government is planning to spend more funds. So let us explore those things and make sure that we take the advantage as an institution itself. Okay. Anyways, these things are basically, what we have to talk about. So what I mean to say is, the challenges could be how higher education sector in India definitely needs government support, but how are the state governments and central government is gearing up to support us? So that's the biggest question to be debated, and then look at the current situation. And we are also trying to make sure that we are just getting the proper programs from both central as well as state governments. And we need to look at the rigid policies in HE, and that is higher education. And maybe we can represent to as a community of professors and educational institutions. We can represent things to the government and make sure that they get proper amendments in new education policy. And we are literally, lagging behind in terms of, world rankings. Most of the institutions think that, okay, this is not my job. I don't need this. I'm getting my fees and I'm okay. I don't want to be on a different platform, but I'm okay with tier 2 or tier 3. But this kind of attitude is not going to help us anyways. Like I said, we will vanish from the map if we don't strive. So that is going to be more important. Think about the ranking part, and then lack of research and innovation oriented programs. So here, just for the sake of promotion, I need to publish a paper. Yes. Then what is the motivation here? I want to make it a number, just a number. I'm not really interested in what is the outcome, how I'm contributing to anything. So these kinds of things have to be addressed by the institutions. And as people, you are a principal, you are a senior professor, you are maybe an advisor, you should be able to bring all these kinds of things to the notice of the management. Nothing wrong in this. And we see that whoever may be graduating, engineering graduates especially, they're all not really employable. Employability skills are totally a different set of skills. You can refer to Australia, and there are a lot of researches that have happened in both Great Britain and Australia related to employability skills. This is where we try to understand what are the best things in international educational forums. We have to adapt them and work on that. What are the employability skills that an industry is expecting from a student? That is easy for us to really create a framework and train our students. And there is absolutely big gap between industry and academia. So what we prepare here is not going to be really useful for the people in the companies. So that gap should be mitigated, and we should work towards, at least have 2, 3 companies on the board of your board of studies. And then most probably you have, but how vocal they are, how important they are, that makes a difference. And then industry chair professors in the universities are very, very low when compared to the Western countries. So we have to get a little bit of freedom. Somebody was asking about, how to create orientation towards research. Okay, we have to go to the industries. You have to go to the companies and find out what are the things. Much of the time, they're not going to tell you, please come. No, they will say, get out. If you are a professor, I don't care, get out. But we have to give them a solution, and we have to tell them these are the things we can work on. So try to make sure that we have aligned in program at least with one industry, and make sure that they sponsor something other. Sponsor doesn't mean money. Please understand. Sponsoring is like create an opportunity for your students to go and work in a company. It doesn't really mean only financial aspects of it. So these things are really, really very important for us. And what is the role of foreign universities? Are they competitors or collaborators? Like I asked you in the beginning itself, make sure we make them as collaborators rather than giving them a position of competitors. So we need to understand that just give them a chunk and give them a taste that how things are going to be. So we can really do wonders if we find a foreign university as a collaborator rather than a competitor. Okay. So choose at international rankings when we have to overcome difficult situations. We have to do some things, and then try to mobilize some students, and then just make sure that they explore, and some of them come here and explore. This all happens basically on your personal network. And seriously, telling you with my own experience, unless until you have a strong person on the other side also, it is not possible for us to get things done. So create a rapport with a professor over there who is capable of doing these things for your institution, and you should give them some advantage when it comes to, because it's a win-win situation, give and take policy always. So take up some kind of assignments with foreign universities, maybe for a short term, and then make it a bit longer, and then make it a year. And you have lots of programs which are funded by US consulate, and then we have lots of in European programs where you can just do small works and then can get into the limelight and the stream. And this is very, very important. All of us have the capability, but we are lazy sometimes. We are running between the syllabus, classes, marks, and assessments, nothing else. So there ends the life. But is there any possibility that we come out of this? I know it's seriously very troublesome thing when there's so much of workload and then still trying to be doing all these kinds of things. But pick up, get up, and do now or never. You have to do something. Then it's for you. However much you do, all kinds of administrative work, you are just like that. When tenure is over, vacate the seat. Nothing is going to happen. So focus on yourself. Focus on what you can get as a professor. So this is important for us. And yeah, try to get into the best practices. At least by observing, we can do that. So this is from me. I'm open to the feedback, and then these are my details, and a little bit of thank you from my side and on behalf of VIT for giving me an opportunity to address so many people over here. So thank you so much, and I'm open to questions.
Thank you, ma'am. This is Harishri.
Yeah,
I'm reading a question for you.
yeah, sure.
How to inculcate habits of doing research by faculty members at all levels? How to teach to faculty members research improves teaching skills?
Okay, I feel personally that there is nothing to be taught to the professors. Professors have to teach, right? So take a group of people, take a group of students. I should not be using the word like, people. Take a group of students, just ask them to go around and see what's happening. Okay, maybe talk to a customer who is sitting at a grocery shop, or maybe a place where they're waiting for a bus or something. Just talk to them, what is the problem they are facing. From that small problem, you can really identify a research question, you can really frame a statement, and you can really go for what kind of research you can take up, and align with one other professor who is of same line with you or very comfortable to you, and then make sure that you start a small project over there, and don't wait for any funding or any recognition. Just do it for yourself, a small one. And first, when you do this gives you a lot of confidence. It could be a small problem. Maybe the customer at the grocery shop says, which one is a clinic all clear original shampoo? There is a spurious product or something, right? You have to work on that. You just come up with a main issue. I will give you an example. We have a big grocery store here in VAT University itself. For fun, the students come and just do shoplifting. So they asked our students, what can we do? We sent our BBA students. What happened is, one student has come up with a very good suggestion that keep a CC camera. CC camera is everywhere nowadays, but way back, I'm talking about almost 10 years back, this suggestion has been given by one of our BBA students, and then they found a solution. They said they've just given a certificate to us saying that the students has done really great job for us, and we are able to control the shoplifting process, right? Another example I would like to give you. This is like, parking issues. Parking issues always are a problem. So we just started working on that, and the students have come up with the 2, 3 different solutions, which university is following now. So don't think that we have to bring in the research from heaven or some other place, but try to look around you, try to find solution for the existing issues. That's what my simple submission. I'm very humbly requesting that that may not be a great idea, but when you start doing it, you will find better things to do. Yeah, I hope I answered the question. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. The
Thank
next
you.
question is why there still lies a difference in grant and non grant and teachers? What motivation can help us to move forward?
Yes, sir. What I feel is we need to work on that because where I am right now, I'm only responsible, right? So what am I supposed to do to move from non-grant to grant? So please make sure that you work on that. You have to really work on that. So that is important. And you're not happy with what you are right now, the position. You can only do that. When I get fever, I have to take the tablet. I'm a little rude about it, but then still, there is so much of potential that our people have. We are multitasking and multi-talented, but we don't do it. Showing lots of reasons. I'm busy with my work. I'm busy with that or this. But then, please understand, you have to do it right now. Otherwise, you will not get. Your age is a problem. Maybe a lot of constraints will come up in your career path if you are a little bit okay with whatever your comfort zone is right now. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Participants, if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, may I ask question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, myself Satyendra from Mumbai.
Yeah, hello.
Thank you for nice project. I think it's very demanding and very appropriate for
Thank you so
concerned. I
much.
think looking into
Thank you so much.
emphasize a lot.
Yeah.
I think three mentioned on the education policy about that. So
Yes.
question is that because I'm also handling the international relation from my university is concerned. So a lot of
Wow.
common experience I have, what you have shared.
Yeah.
What my question is that there is a kind of perception in the foreign students about coming to India.
Hmm.
You will be seeing it more like our students would like to go abroad, and comparatively you will see the less foreign students who like to come.
Yes.
Even though we know that there is a huge interest,
Hmm.
but people pretty challenging about that coming to India.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
see that resolving those challenges, ground about in uh,
Sir, your voice is
probably
breaking.
make it
Yeah. Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the student in a fair way. This is some that's and how do you see getting the foreign students uh, and meeting their expectation because that's one thing, and especially how do you see the buddy system you have seen probably in the abroad. They have the buddy system, and when they come to India, many times couple of Indian institutions they lack of those kind of, I think they get different experience. And further, how do you like summer school program? This is very successful in abroad when you
Yeah.
talk about when our students go abroad. But in terms of having the same summer school in India,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think bit challenging. So how do
Yeah.
you see the policy can help, or what kind of programs we develop
Hmm.
collaborative way? For example, our like many students they go in the group to abroad and they visit various institutions. I don't
Hmm.
think we have that mechanism coming from
Yeah.
the Western university student and visiting many institutions in India.
Yeah.
So I'd like to
Okay.
have your experience on that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fair, sir. What I talked to you about till now is don't look for a longer periods. Start with shorter periods. That's what my suggestion was. We have been successful in that way. Now the students are able to come for a semester program. Right. But before that, what we did was we started an MOU. We started actually with a country like Rwanda. Okay, Rwanda is an African country, a little backward and torn by civil war. So they were eagerly waiting for a support for their children education. So our university has started with a very backward country. And from there, we started looking at different kinds of countries. I'm just giving my practical example, right? So here we start with a shorter programs and make it longer once you have successful customers, that's how it is. And like I said, make sure you create a program which is more attractive. Okay, so when we talk about more attractive, they should go for a course which is not available in their university. And maybe you have, take for example, you have a supply chain. Supply chain can be in any other university for that matter, better than us. But how can you make it attractive? So you are going to make the syllabus in such a way that you are going to take them to the ports for a practical experience. For this, we need to do a little bit of groundworking. You have to align with the local industries as well. And the third most important thing that attracts a foreign student for either a small trip or a long trip is the cost involved in that. For half of the cost, we can really provide them better things. Take for example our medical tourism in India. A lot of, we don't know, quietly and behind the screens, a lot of foreign patients come here, get the surgery done, and they go back. This is a very, a lucrative business that Indian medical in the sector is really doing for us. We get a lot of foreign exchange under this because they know they have to spend so many dollars over there, but half of it you finish everything here in India, and the skilled people are pretty safe. So we see these kinds of experiences and make sure you play on these three. Create a program which is very interesting to them with beautiful terminology, and then make sure the cost is half, and then make sure you add little bit of culture into this. You have to create a program where by understanding Indian market, Indian culture, you're going to get some kind of a learning advantage in this, or maybe something which is going to be an addition to them. The foreign students have a mystery, sir. They're not really taken away by the word placement. Our Indian students are only concerned about placement, but foreign students, you can't lure them on the name of placement. So we need to tell them it's like, exposing themselves to the culture. Culture is the very, very catchy word for them. So make sure you prepare those kinds of things. But my advice is start from 5 days to 10 days and then make it a month, and then slowly you build on the programs. That's my advice. And we were successful because of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Participants, does anybody have any other question? Okay, ma'am. Shall we end the meeting now?
Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you so much for your patient listening. And I learned something from you guys, and then it's really great experience to have all of you here. And all the best for all of you. We will really make sure that India is going to be the leader in digital as well as in education. Yeah, we are going to do that. Yeah, thank you so much. Have a nice weekend. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, participants.